Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rant. I'm Rob. I got my partner Josh with me. Josh, say hi.
Hey.
This is our first episode for 2016, and we're going to talk about the games that we are hoping will start us off on a good foot this year, because there was really a lot of bad titles in 2015. So we're just really hoping to start out nice this year.
Too many games got put on the hype train, and then they crashed.
Yeah, there were a lot of them. There were only like two titles that really stuck out for me last year, and we covered those on last couple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Let's just dive right into it, because let's face it, nobody wants to hear us chit chat for half an hour, except for the weirdos on the stream for some reason. But whatever. Josh, do you want to lead us off with your titles first, or
Sure. I will lead us off with the one that I am most excited for, which is Psychonauts 2, hopefully being released this year. Maybe not. If it's not, I still got Yooka-Laylee, which is another one of those old game companies who are making a resurgence. But Psychonauts 2 got funded, and it is starting production. So hopefully by the end of this year, it'll come out. It's probably just going to pick off where the last game left off. It's a bunch of Psychonauts cadets who they train. Of course, the teachers train them how to go inside people's minds and manipulate their thoughts and get like secrets out of their heads for I guess it's for like some war training or secret operative training. And the lead kid sneaks into the camp in the first game, and they accept him for whatever reason. And there's always this mysterious thing about his parents, and they come up towards the end of the game. And I think they're going to do a lot more with it, and I'm hoping that it has the same kind of 3D platformer style that I love, and I'm really hoping. I got my fingers crossed for this one, because Psychonauts 1 is like one of my favorite games ever, and I'm so happy that they're finally making Psychonauts 2, that's pretty much it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for 3D platformers to come back. I really am.
I think everybody's hopeful that 3D platformers will come back, because they were always just fun games. Like you could get kind of stupid and funny in them, and it didn't ruin the game. It didn't pull you out of it. It's not. I don't know about you, but it really just pulled me out of the game with all of the like diarrhea jokes that always run through the Metal Gear Solid titles and all that stuff. It pulls me out of the game. I mean, that stuff has a place. You can put it in something, but it's Metal Gear Solid 4. I'm sorry. First encounter with a friendly guy is a dude who has shit his pants. That pulls me out of the game. It makes it unfun, but you can do that in a 3D platform, and it doesn't screw anything up, because the game already has a little bit of a whimsical feel to it. It doesn't quite feel like life and death kind of struggles,
Come to think of it, Phantom Pain had a lot of like wetting your pants scenes, and then you can tell the horse to take a shit on command. It's weird.
The Metal Gear guy, I don't know what his deal is, but every one of those games there is something. It's like the second Metal Gear where you're running around as Raiden and he is naked, and you have to run underneath a dude who's pissing off the edge of an upper deck on a boat, and you have to run right through the piss stream.
Oh boy.
He even puts in creepy secret shit, like if you stand where the guy is peeing and open up your little, special console that lets you communicate with your boss and all that shit, you get like special dialogue options all about like, dude, this is disgusting. How are you letting that guy pee on you? And all. It's like, dude, why did you even put that in there? Nobody needed that. Why is the guy naked too? I never got that one either.
Couldn't tell you.
I don't think anybody can tell you, really. I want to say it was one of those things like you wake up on an exam table or something like that, but fuck, man. That's why I'm like sort of happy Kojima's not really making games anymore. Thankfully none of that stuff was in Zone of the Enders, or I would have killed myself. I love those titles. It would have been terrible if there were shit jokes and wetting your pants. Oh, God. Alright, moving on. My first title, which I think comes out at the beginning of February, I'll have to look it up again, is Street Fighter V. I am really stoked for this, because I really enjoyed Street Fighter 4, and even though normally it kind of pisses me off when a game company just re-releases like a slightly upgraded version of a title like four times. Normally I get a little irritated with that, but Street Fighter I still enjoyed it enough that I went and got the upgrade for each of the iterations. And the fifth one looks just as pretty as the last one, which is good because you can easily screw up graphics from one version of a game to the next. But mostly, I'm excited to see what they've done with the combat system in the game. Because, quote unquote, they have made it more accessible for casual gamers. I'm excited and just a tiny bit worried because everybody's familiar with the like easy kid mode that they put into some fighting games back in the day, like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Where it's like, oh, you don't do combos now, you just hit one button and an 85 hit combo happens.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I don't think you could do that online, but still, I'm excited and I'm a little bit nervous. I
Yeah.
was really good at Street Fighter 4. I wasn't like one of the amazing world champion kind of players, but I could hold my own. I beat out some guys that had much higher ranks than me online, but it makes me just a little bit nervous, just on the edge there that they've screwed it up. But still, it's Street Fighter. I will still buy it. I will still play it with my buddies. I know Josh is willing to beat my ass in it, so I've got at least one person to duke it out with. What about you? Are you looking forward to Street Fighter at all?
Yeah, I enjoy fighting games. Like after Mortal Kombat X, I'm really hoping for a better fighter game.
See, I'm just gonna have to buy you a copy of Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. Then you're gonna have to get on there with me if I buy you a copy.
I haven't turned my PlayStation 3 on in forever, though.
No, it's on PS4.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Learn new things
the
every
last
day.
version they put it on PS4. That's where I have it, is on my PS4. It plays really well, actually. I was surprised. Normally, stuff on the PlayStation Network had issues. It always seemed to, but that one worked pretty damn well. The only problem is finding players on that one.
Yeah, that's what happens when games get older. You
Well,
can,
that's what's weird. The PS4 version, Last Round, came out about this time last year. So it was a fairly new title. It's just, unfortunately, like with Street Fighter, it was third. I think it was the third rendition of Dead or Alive 5. It's like I got the original when it came out on the 360. Oh God, how many years was that now? That was either 2012 or 2013. I can't remember, but it was back there. And then they made the Ultimate version, which had more characters and stuff, and then they made this one. That being said, that's one of the games that will totally fuck you over on the cost of DLC, with
yeah, I noticed that.
season passes running about $95 each.
Whew. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
notice that there's a ton of DLC. Like every week, I check in the store, and there's just Dead or Alive skins. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I would be more willing to talk up the DLC releases if it wasn't just costumes. Like if like, oh, check out the new stage you can battle on, and there's even blah blah blah. I would be excited for that, but they don't ever do that. Dead or Alive, for some reason, is committed to just skins. I mean, granted, I sort of understand. It's like, it's a fighting game. What is the main thing that's always in front of you is the characters, so more costume choices. But the game has something like 25 to 35 costumes per character by default.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't need like 100 or so for each character. That's just getting ridiculous. Plus, the prices on some of them are nuts. So, sorry, really off topic there, but Street Fighter 5, looking forward to it. Plus, they've cut the roster down on it. Like the last game, I think there was about 20 or so fighters, something like that, which is a lot. You don't need that many for a fighting game. I would almost rather there was only like 10, and they really, really worked on each character. I think that's what they did on this one, because I know that they have cut the roster down, and the last time I checked, there only was like 10 or so characters on there. That being said, they've removed a few of the ones from the last version that I really liked. For instance, Juri Han, I really liked that character. She's gone. Crimson Viper, gone. You know, the few others that they got rid of that I really liked. I mean, they kept all the main characters that have been there since the beginning, like Chun-Li and Ryu and Ken. I think Zangief is in there. We all know Bison is going to be in there because he's like the original bad guy from the game. Uh, a couple other new ones. Like, you know, I am kind of curious to try out the new character, which I think is supposed to be using capoeira fighting style, which kind of makes me feel like they ripped off the Eddie Gordo character from Tekken, or the Christy Monteiro character because it's a woman, but still, Street Fighter V. That's my first big hopeful for the new year. Back to you, Josh.
I was about to say, at least they didn't kill off half their cast like Mortal Kombat did and totally piss everyone off. You know, they're just
yeah. I think everyone, well, not everybody. We both know a couple of people that will totally fight us tooth and nail about this, but Mortal Kombat more than bent their audience over a barrel and raped them with how badly that game was.
Mortal Kombat 9 had all the characters I liked in it, and then they killed them all. In that one scene, they killed almost every character I liked. And then in Mortal Kombat X, they killed Baraka, and I was like, well, I'm done. That's all my characters.
They did a lot of bad stuff to mine, too. They made it... First and foremost, I don't like how they neutered the fighting system in that one. You know, we did that whole thing on one of the other podcasts about how bad they messed up that system, and it still is pissing me off. Even now, I haven't played the game in months, and I still get irritated that every character is subdivided into 3 different combat styles, which doesn't make a lick of sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, maybe if we make everybody have 3 combat styles and we put in 15 characters total, they'll get confused and think there's a lot more.
And then we'll have them pay $60 for a DLC for 4 characters that should have already been on the game.
That's the part that sucks. They were in the game. They were all download codes.
Yep.
At literally 2 days after the game came out, I saw tons of videos of people that had hacked the PC version and unlocked the characters. It's just, the weird thing was, for some reason, half the characters weren't finished and the game would crash if you tried to use certain moves from them. Like, I remember the Tanya, right? That's the yellow costume girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the staff.
I remember seeing her in a video on Steam, I think it was. It was like one of those, you know, big review videos or something. And the guys were playing it, and they're like, look, we have her unlocked, but it crashes every time you do this move. And the game crashes. And
That's
it's like,
funny.
wow, all right.
Because she's already like an AI playable character in the game, just like, you know, the whip hair girl, Sindel or whatever, and
Yep.
and Baraka and those people. They're all coded and put into the game. They're just unfinished or not released.
I think that was the main reason why they didn't release any of those characters as actual DLC, because they're like, oh, who wants to finish them?
I would.
I don't want to write that extra 3 lines of code so that the punch button doesn't make the game crash and then explode.
I'm still mourning Baraka. One of my favorite characters since like the first one.
I don't blame you. Correction, Baraka was not in the first game. He was in the second one.
I said like close.
I'm sorry. I have a long-running history with Mortal Kombat. Painful as it is. You ever notice how on a lot of these games, like, you could play them really well at home, but then you go to an arcade and you just get reamed? Like, it didn't even make sense because at home you'd be playing on the hardest difficulty, and like you weren't a superstar, but you could do it. Then you go to the arcade and you just get destroyed. Like, there was nothing you could do. That always happened to me with Mortal Kombat. I go up against Sub-Zero and rip my spine out like 3 seconds, and like, I don't understand how this is happening. I kill him so easily at home.
Yeah, that would happen to me when I go to friends' houses. Like when Soul Calibur 3 was big, I went over to my one friend's house, and I would be really good, and then all of a sudden I play on my friend's console, and I'm like, I don't know how to play anymore. I guess but now we can all enjoy the games from the comfort of our own homes, so there's a plus.
It does help when you can just sit on your ass and be comfortable and not have to stand around with a bunch of people watching you play the game and saying what you're doing wrong or how they would have done it. That always
Right.
drove me nuts. Like, no, no, you're supposed to go for the carrot, dumbass. Go for the carrot.
Kick
Maybe
the
I don't want the
carrot.
fucking carrot. Maybe I want to kick the shit out of the guy that's in front of me, and I'll get the carrot afterwards.
Right. Alrighty. Well. uh, I guess I should go on to my next game. Whoop! I just knocked over half the things on my shelf. My next game is Doom 4, which
Ooh,
is
good one.
probably going to be released sometime in June or July this year. It's another game by Bethesda, and you saw the E3 gameplay the same time I did, and that looked fucking awesome. I cannot wait.
For that one too.
I feel like they still have that creepy element in there, because there was times when in Doom 3 especially, you felt really like claustrophobic, and the lights would all be on when you walk into a room, and all of a sudden they shut off and they make the sounds like an enemy's right behind you, and it's like, oh shit. And this one seems to be taking the same the same shoot 'em up style and also the same creepy style. And I think the executions in this game, which they were showing off in the demo, look really, really sick. I cannot wait to try every single version of those out. It's gonna be freaking sweet.
That was nice. The moment I saw that part in the trailer where he just put his fist through the critter's heart, I was like, okay, I'm on board.
Or when he bends the leg backwards and uses it to smash the guy's skull, I was like, yeah, I cannot wait. It looks like a bloody, gory mess, and that is exactly what a Doom game should be. So I'm glad that they're staying on the line there.
I will say this: I am glad that the game isn't what it was originally, which was just kind of like no real story or anything like that. I like that they have actually developed it a bit over the years and made it into something that you can actually follow and enjoy. Because I mean, like, past like the age of 12, just pure violence isn't fun anymore. It's like you get bored. So I am very happy that they have been working on it. It really does look good. I am very stoked for that one myself.
I've been seeing some screenshots of the bosses, and I don't think they're gonna be that easy. There's one that's like a giant rock monster with horns on his head, and looks like there's a weak point in the middle of his chest. There's another guy who's really fat and has his stomach stitched together. It's like, this is gonna be fun.
I just hope they don't take a page out of like the Painkiller games and make it some sort of weird trick you have to pull off to beat a boss. That was always, it was a little too much in Painkiller.
Yeah, hopefully not. But I mean, just looking at this one screenshot that I'm looking at right now, there's like a zombie-looking guy with 2 rocket launchers strapped to his shoulders, and he's got intestines hanging out of him. And behind him is the giant rock monster with the horns, and then a cannon arm. Like, this is what I've been waiting for so long.
There's nothing like shitting your pants right before the final boss.
Right. Yeah, it says release date spring 2016. Yeah. So
it does look like a really good game, and I am very stoked for it. Let's hope it has co-op though.
I think
that would really be fun if it had co-op.
I know it has multiplayer. I don't know if...
No, that one I think is a given anymore, given the series.
Well, a lot of things Bethesda puts out is single player. Like, they put out a few games that are multiplayer, like Brink and not Wolfenstein. And that's the only one I can think of is Brink. That's literally... I'm sure there's more, but they usually they do a lot of just single player stuff. Like the Wolfenstein series has all been single player. The Doom series all single player up to this one. The Fallout, everything has all been single player. So we'll see what they do. I'm thinking there's going to be a co-op mode. I don't see why there wouldn't be. Of course,
it's hard to tell, man. It really is hard to tell. There are a lot of games where co-op seem to have been like the driving force, and you're like, why is this in here? I didn't need this. It wasn't hard or anything.
Like Transformers Devastation. That's a game that should have had co-op in it, but they didn't have any co-op or multiplayer at all. It's like I would have liked the game even...
single?
It's all single player. I would like the game more if it wasn't for the fact that there's no co-op. There's no... So it's weird. It's like this game should have had it, but...
It sort of kills it for me a little bit.
It's still a fun game, and it has that same fighting style as Dragon Ball, but I mean, no co-op. It's weird. It's just weird. And it's set up like there should have been co-op. It's almost like they released the game too early. I don't know.
They're pulling a Rock Band maneuver. Like, we'll put it up online if we get enough money for this.
Don't even mention that piece of crap.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to flick the nerve there. That's
I spent a whole 10 minutes raving about that game on my worst games list. I didn't even mean to. It just happened.
impromptu takeover.
It happened a
Nothing
few
but
times.
rage. Everybody that's listening to it is like, "Holy shit, this guy's mad." I don't know what's happening.
And the worst part is people online are still like, "Oh yeah, I love the new Justin Bieber DLC that came out." And they did. They released a Justin Bieber
Oh my
DLC pack.
God.
I was like,
All
I'm
right.
done with this game.
That's more than enough for a death nail, in my opinion.
I almost want to sell it, but then again, I paid 100 and some $20 for it.
Oh, you got like the double pack, didn't you?
No, that was for Guitar Hero. I got the double pack, and that was worth it. That was only 160, and one guitar with Rock Band is like 150 or something like that.
Oh,
So it's like,
shit.
yeah,
I didn't even pay that much for the full band in a box thing I got several years ago.
I
for the
know.
second
They're only
one.
like $150 a day
Good
for the
God.
whole thing. They just upsold the whole thing, and I am never buying another Rock Band as long as I live, unless it says there's multiplayer on it, and then I might actually get it. But other than that,
No, don't do it. Don't give them the satisfaction of coming back.
I might just
If it
have
has
to.
the multiplayer, they better say, "We will pay you to play online if you
Yes.
buy this." Then you can give them your business again.
Although yeah, I really like to review games, so I might just buy the review. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to give them any more money, but then again, I want to make sure people know how bad the games are. Well, let's.
What we
I
do.
don't know. All right, let's continue.
All right. For me, my number 2 is the next installment of Deus Ex. That is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. For anybody that is unfamiliar with the series, the last one was a tremendously good game. The story was a little wonky, the way it ended, but from what I've seen of the new one, it looks like this new one picks up literally like a month after the first game. So the ending is more than acceptable on that first one now, considering there's a tie-in. And essentially, what it looks like through the trailers is that as a result of what happened in the last game, the kind of cybernetic technology that was really only on a handful of people in the last title is kind of being used just in a rampant manner with everybody, and it is causing a lot of civil unrest and crazy moments where you have to, survive against a random group of people that are trying to kill you. Visually, the game is top notch, just like the last one. Everybody that has cybernetic parts on them, they look really stylized. They look really cool. They look functional. They don't have that weird kind of crap half the time. Like, I think it was in Metal Gear Rising. I think it was. There was a character that had. It was the first female character in the game, the boss that you fight with, all the crazy little tripod critters.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really have legs. She kind of has like blades. And it doesn't look functional. Like, you look at her like, how the fuck is she even standing? I'm so confused right now. Nothing in the Deus Ex games looks like that. It all looks functional. It makes it a little bit more believable that, in the near future everybody could have like their legs replaced for whatever reason. And plus, the last game gave you so many options for going through one area. It was almost staggering. Like, you could go through guns blazing. You could go through total stealth. You could, if you wanted to, if you had the right skills built up on the character, you could go a route that took you completely away from enemies to begin with, so you didn't have to worry about being stealthy. The game was just so well developed. I would have given it a 9 out of 10 easily, even knowing the weird ending and not knowing that there would be a follow-up to it years later. I would still give it a 9 out of 10 based on that. So, that being said, I'm really stoked for the next iteration. I want to see where they're taking the story. I'm glad that it's the same main character. You're still playing as Adam Jensen. He looks more badass than he did in the last one. I mean, there's a scene where he jumps out of a cargo airplane at like 2,000 feet up or something and just free falls straight towards the ground, no parachute.
Hey,
I'm stoked for it. I'm really stoked for that game. I dumped so many hours into the first one. I must have run through it like 5 or 6 times, and we're talking about a title that easily broaches the like 60 hours of gameplay time kind of mark. Have you ever played any of the Deus Ex games, Josh?
I played a little bit of the last one.
Okay.
I do want to get back on it, but I've been so busy with all these other games I've been trying to play. But
Hmm.
I'll definitely try to get through at least most of it before this game comes out. So I'm hoping.
I think
But
you have like a couple of months or so, I think it is. So
yeah, it's in like April or something.
yeah, something like that. It's down the road. You got time.
Yeah, time is all I have now. But I do like the style of the game. I did like it kind of has that choose your own adventure kind of thing to it. So I'm hoping
Mhm.
they focus a lot more on, well, not more, but I hope they have the same type of focus on this game as like a lot of combat, a lot of kind of dialogue situations.
Yeah, there was a lot of that in the last one. In fact, several of the big enhancements you could work on as you went through the experience system for your character were based solely on what options you would have during conversation.
Hmm.
So there's a lot to it. I have no doubt that at the very least, it will be as good as the last game, which it really was tremendous. I enjoyed it so much. I mean, just the visuals alone were so terrific, and this was on the Xbox 360. So, I mean, for me to still think of it as totally amazing and being on the new level stuff now in comparison, that says a lot visually for a game.
Yeah,
Well, that's it for my second one. We're on number three for you, right?
that's right.
Well, lay it down then, sir. Lay it down.
Number 3 for me is coming out late February, and that is Far Cry Primal. I was talking about this game a little bit earlier with you. It's the Stone Age version of Far Cry, and I think it's going to be quite fun. And the video I've seen and the screenshots, it looks like a it looks like a really well put together game. They got everything you might need as a caveman, and there's even a dog in it you can befriend apparently. So I'm
Taking taking a play right out of Fallout.
yeah,
It's gonna be really messed up if the dog's name is Dog Meat.
uh,
Like, what the hell, man?
it's a wolf actually. So, but
Wolf meat, whatever.
they can take since this game was in the Stone Age and none of us were really there, they can take a lot of initiative and really to transform the saber-toothed tigers and the mammoths and stuff like that to make them look really good, and also they can add even new things in there. Like they can make the dodo bird like a giant predator. Like no one's gonna care. It's like if it looks cool, boom, I'll play it. I can't wait for it. I've been waiting for this kind of like I was kind of jokingly waiting for something like Caveman era, but I mean this is like legit. I think it's going to be really cool, and if they do it anything like the other Far Cry games, it should be a real treat.
It does sound fun. I will admit it has been a long, long time since I actually even remotely felt interested in something that took place in like the dinosaur era. And if this is half as good as you're talking it up to be, then I think it'll be a nice solid title that'll start the year off well.
Yeah, well, actually, the first game starting off the year is Lego Marvel, so we'll see.
Well, actually, pretty much everything we've mentioned, I just looked up the Deus Ex thing. That apparently was pushed back. That last time I looked, it was going to be out in like February or March. Now it says August.
Yeah.
So that's not really starting the year off good. That's more like, well, we're hoping to wrap up the year as it.
Yeah, that
All right.
Uncharted
Thanks.
4 has been pushed back so many times. It just got pushed back again to like December or something. I'm like, really? Or April? I don't know. I don't. It just seems like every time I look up Uncharted 4, they're like, oh yeah, we had to push it back again. Like, oh, cool. I mean, if it's a good game, I can wait. Like,
Yeah.
I waited how many years for Fallout 4, and I'm happy with that. So, if it takes 4 extra years for you to come out with Uncharted 4, as long as it's a good game, I'm not going to knock you for making sure that everything's just right.
Right. Although sometimes it backfires.
Well,
I don't know if you ever played Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness, but that game was in development for, it was like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. It was a long time, and it was still a glitchy game when it finally came out.
yeah.
That being said, I would still much rather a game developer put that kind of time and effort into it so that when the finished product finally gets to me, the first thing that I don't experience is an update patch when I throw the disc in. I can't tell you how shattering that is to my faith in any game. Like the moment I throw it in, it's like, all right, we're downloading update patch number 1.07. Whoa, whoa, we're already up to 0.07? You're telling me there were 6 previous builds before the game even came out? I don't feel comfortable anymore. I want my money back.
Did you ever play Resistance 3?
No, no, I did not.
Okay, you put that one into your PlayStation 3. I shit you not, it took 4 hours to update. Day one.
Oh my
It was
God.
ridiculous.
That's insane. That would have been like a 5 or 6 gig update patch then, right off the bat.
I don't know. It installed in
Golly.
sections, and I ended up not even playing the game. I was like, I don't fucking want to do this, so I returned it. I was like, hey, this game's not finished. If you release a game on disc and you have to do that many updates, that tells me the game wasn't finished when you originally released it, and you were like, oh shit, we forgot to put in this whole scene. It's like, oh wait, we forgot to skin this one character, so he only has eyes and a mouth. Well, we can post-production that in. Like, give me a break.
That's as bad as some of the MMOs that I tried way back in the day, where like it had been out like a year, but they would do, like update patches to it like every month. So by the time I got onto it, it's like, okay, you can play the game in 36 hours from now because there's that many patches to download.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so the game is going from 4 gigs on my hard drive to 40, and I paid in advance, and I have to wait a whole week. Okay, I want my money back.
And the
I
thing
paid
that,
for 48 hours of letting my computer download updates.
I think the thing that annoys me the most is the people who are like, well, I'll start with this little story. Assassin's Creed Unity, I bought that game day one, completely broken piece of shit. And I was complaining up and down about it. And a week later they put out a patch and they fix a lot of things. And then a week later they put out another patch. And then a week later they put out another patch. I've stopped playing the game by this time, and I've uninstalled it and put it on my shelf for, the dust to settle onto it. And, maybe like a month later, it's getting these great reviews. People are like, oh my god, the game is so good now that they've patched it. I'm like, no, you don't do that shit. If the game comes out broken and they have to fix it, it's still a bad game. It doesn't matter how much they fix it. The first impression is what sticks in my head, and you can't go from everyone hating the game to everyone saying how good the game is just because they released a few patches and fixed it. It's
So true.
It's
so true.
It's annoying.
This is why I give so much credit to studios like CD Projekt Red. When they put out that one patch that fucked up The Witcher 3 a little bit, like it didn't destroy the game, you can still play it, but it screwed up some of the DLC. Literally, patch came out, people hit the boards, this isn't working quite right. 1 week later, new patch, game fixed, totally works, all problems gone.
That's
That
nice.
is how you do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, nobody friggin' does that. It's always the kind of shit like you experienced with Unity. It's broken beyond repair. It's like a month after it comes out, they put out a patch. It fixes 2 things, so the game loads, but then when you try to walk, it explodes.
Yeah. Well, there was real big problems in that game. Like, there's one. I think I have it on my YouTube channel. There's one. I'm going to stealth kill a guy from behind like some barrels or something. You kind of pull him over the barrels and stab him, and then drag him behind the barrels so you hide the body. Well, when you go to hide the body, your guy actually falls through the ground and then falls forever until he somehow just magically dies about a minute later, and it's like, okay. Or there
That
was
worked out awesome.
there's a lot of things with the just the people walking around the city. They just all of a sudden start floating and they fly away, or they don't load in properly, so there's just those like texture people just standing there with their arms stretched out like a T, and they're just like standing there and they're doing all the things they might usually do, just they're not moving their hands, their legs, their muscles, anything. They're just kind of like hopping around like, oh yeah. And there's other places where you reach invisible climb points and you'll just start climbing into the air, and you can go as high as you fucking want, and then you get to the top of the map and you can just walk around on top of the map in the sky, and like that just ruined it for me. It's like, this isn't a game. Like, this is This is something that a child will put out and say, "Hey, Daddy, look at this," and he'll be like, "Oh, wow, son, let's put it on the fridge." But you know it's shit. It's just a scribbled yellow line. It's,
Yes, son, of course. Ducks are blue. That is such a good drawing. Put that right here on the fridge where mommy can see it.
why is there a piece of shit on the fridge? Like, oh, jeez.
I feel like in the future we're gonna definitely have to do a rant special that's just the most broken games.
There's a lot of them out there.
I know it'd have to be like a 5-part miniseries. Like this week on the rants most broken, we talk about Assassin's Creed Unity. 6 hours later.
I think my
All right, episode 1 in the can. Let's move on.
I think my second Jarshcast was like 30 to 40 minutes of just me bitching about Unity and comparing it to Rogue, which came out the same year and was a lot better. That's
Terrible.
what do you know? But Rogue was for the older systems, and I feel like if they had released Rogue just for both systems and made it prettier, I would have loved Assassin's Creed that year. But Unity just fucking ruined it. Holy shit. But anyways, we got way off track there. We still need to hear your last game.
Well, that is the point of the rant now, isn't it?
I guess, yeah.
My last game is a title that is going to be coming over from Japan called Knights of Azure. It looks really cool. I don't know a whole lot about it, unfortunately, because it's not one of these giant AAA titles that gets tons of hype. But that being said, it sounds interesting. It's a Devil Hunter type of scenario. It looks like it has an interesting combo system from what I've seen of like screenshots and stuff like that. The visuals aren't anything astounding, but they are stylized in that kind of anime looking type deal that you get from some of those titles, which is always fun. I prefer really stylized graphics over something that is hyper realistic, to be honest. I would rather enjoy the art style as opposed to be like, holy shit, that dude's sweating. Like that never makes it fun for me.
Well, like they tried to do in Mortal
said,
Kombat X, where they tried to make the beads of sweat on the characters, but it looked like scales.
Oh yeah. You know the funny thing? Dead or Alive 5, they did it and it works. Like it actually looks like characters are sweating.
Wow.
It's the only game I know of so far where it actually looks like sweat as opposed to like
Scales.
weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, scales, whatever, weird lighting effects.
Pimples,
Like
burns,
somebody walked through a cloud of glitter dust. kind of
boils,
shit. Boils. So yeah, Knights of Azure. Just in case anybody is a fan of these titles as well, the guy that made the original Fatal Frame game, he's the one heading up this project. So anybody that's familiar with that should give the game just a little bit of a boost in general. Because let's face it, the Fatal Frame games are amazing little works of art that have never been copied. Nobody has ever done anything like those. They've never copied the atmosphere, the feel of it. So I'm hoping that guy is lending some of that to this, that it's going to be a really unique experience game. Knights of Azure. And I think that's it. We've done 3 for both of us, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, and we only went like 8 minutes over the normal runtime. That's not bad at all.
That's
Not
bad.
bad considering all the bitching we did in the middle.
True.
Which, was technically a rant. Angry talk about things that just goes on and on is technically a rant. So I feel like we did the perfect episode today. So now we're at the end. We have to do our normal bit and plug the channels. So Josh, I'd like you to go first. Tell everybody about Jarsh's Opinion.
Jarsh's Opinion is my channel, of course. I do plenty of things on there. I have my own podcast, Jarshcast, and next week is the last part of the top 50 games ever countdown that Robert, I, and my other friend Nick are doing. So that should be a huge event. I of course
Get your
have
tickets now. They're selling out quick.
I of course have video game reviews on there. I love the review games. Even I've been getting a lot of good feedback from people, and then there's always that one person who's like, "Oh, this sucks, very unprofessional." Like, okay, cool.
Tell me why it's unprofessional, sir.
It just is. He just doesn't. They don't respond. They just go, "I put my nasty comment down. I don't need to do anything else." but Yeah, I have video game reviews on there. I have a Left 4 Dead series that I do with my girlfriend and with Nick, of course. And I also have YouTube haikus on there that I upload every once in a while. And I think that's about it. Robert, why don't you tell them about this channel?
This channel is called The Rant, and we do a lot of good stuff on here. We have this podcast that you're listening to now. We have 5-minute reviews of video games. We have the Versus series that Josh spearheads and does an amazing job with. And of course, we host live gameplay streams every Saturday. You gotta check us out. We're fun and we're damn good. We cleared out Bloodborne in just a couple of runs, so we're pretty interesting to watch. This has been The Rant. I'm Rob. My partner is...
That's Josh.
Thank you for listening.